Hello. So today we're going to be talking about centers of measure, or what a center of measure is how we describe a set of data by identifying its center or the central position of its data. So we've got mean, median, mode, and range, and what the mean is the mean is the average. So we add up all our data points, divide it by how many data points we have, and that gives us our mean or average. Our median is the middle set of data. So if I have, like, let's say I've got an odd number of data points, then it is the middle number of that data set that's organized. If I have an even set of data points, then it will be the average of the two middle data points. And then I have mode. Now what mode is it is the number that shows up the most. If I have data that, let's say there's 2 2s, a 3, 5 5s, 8 6s, a 7, then it's going to be the 6s because the 6s show up the most. It's not how many duplicate, but just the one that shows up the most. Now if I have 8 5s and 8 6s, now that would give me two modes. So I can have more than one mode, or if I don't have anything that shows up more than once, then that data set would have no mode. And then obviously the range is where you subtract the lowest number from the highest number, and that gives you the range of your data. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about organizing this data. So I will put some data up on the board, and we'll see you in a second. Okay, so now I've got some data up on the board, and I organize it. Oftentimes when you get data, it's unorganized. You just start writing down what you have, and then you have to put it in order. So in this case, I've got 5 as my low and 12 as my high. So now I'm going to look at this and say, well, if I add all these together, it's going to add up to 90. So I'm going to put 90 here, and coincidentally, it is 90 because I figured it out. So I've got 90, and I have 10 data points. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 10. So 10 goes into 90 9 times. So I know that my mean is equal to 9. Now I'm going to look at my median. So my median is the in this case, because I have 12 data points, it is the average of the two middle numbers. So I know that it is the average of those two numbers. So if I take 9 plus 10 and divide it by 2, that gives me 9.5. So my median is 9.5. Now if I were to have, let's say, if I got rid of this 12, for instance, and I only had 9 data points, then it would be the 9. And oftentimes, not always, but more often your mean and your median might be the same number. Because the median is the center of your data, and the mean is also the average of your data set. All right, now we have mode. Now mode is the one that shows up the most. So in this case, I do have 2 8s, I have 3 10s, so it is going to be my 10 because I have 3 of them. So my mode is 10. Okay, so these here are your centers of measure. Depending on what you're looking for or how your data is organized, one of those might be a better center of measure than the others. So it's it's all about analyzing your data. Now my range in this case is 12 minus 5 is going to give me 7. So 7 is my range. Now, when it comes to data, the mean is sometimes one of your data points, not always, but sometimes. Your median is sometimes one of your data points, because it could be the average, which is 9.5 in this case. It's not one of my data points. But if I were to get rid of one of these numbers, then it would either be 9 or 10. If I were to get rid of the 5 or the 12 or anything in between, it could be one of the numbers that are in my data set. So sometimes the median can be one of your data points, but not always. And then the mode, now that's always one of your data points because that is just the number that shows up the most. And but you don't have to have any mode. if there's no numbers that repeat, then you would have a data set that has no mode. Or you can have one mode, you can have two modes, you can have three modes. You can have as many modes as there are data points, depending on if you have numbers that repeat themselves and are repeat themselves equally. So like in this case, I've got 310, so that gives me a mode of 10. But even though I have two 8s, that is not a mode because I don't have a third 8. Okay, but if I were to have a third 8, then it'd be a mode of 8 and a mode of 10. And then I do have my range, and the range is sometimes one of your data points. Like if I were to have 12 here and 0 here, 12 minus 0 is 12. So sometimes that's one of your data points. Or if I were to have, let's say, I do have a range of 7, and 7 is one of my data points. But let's say this 7 was a 6. Okay, and so the range can be one of your data points, or it may not be. It just depends. The reason I bring that up is because on some of the homework for my students, that was one of the questions. Is it always, sometimes, or never? So anyway, so this is how we determine mean, median, mode, and range. And if you have any comments or if you have any questions, please leave a comment. And as always, please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.